How many of your daily choices are actually yours? The clothes you wear, the opinions you defend, the goals you chase, and even the things you find attractive. Psychology shows that a massive portion of human behavior is quietly engineered by external forces. Most people like to believe they operate with total free will and independent thought. But the truth is, the human brain is an intensely social organism, hardwired to conform, obey, and adapt to its environment. Without realizing it, your decisions are constantly being nudged by invisible psychological strings. Why do intelligent people adopt popular opinions they used to disagree with? How do subtle social cues dictate your choices before your conscious mind even gets involved? Welcome back to Sigma Intelligence. Today, we are decoding the deep psychology of social influence and exposing the quiet mechanisms that control human behavior. To understand social influence, we have to look at one of the most famous experiments in behavioral psychology, Solomon Asch's conformity line trials. In the 1950s, Asch placed a single participant in a room with a group of actors. When asked to match line lengths on a board, the actors deliberately gave the wrong answer. Time after time, despite the correct answer being blatantly obvious, over 75% of participants conformed to the group's wrong answer at least once. Why? Because the human brain processes social exclusion in the exact same neural pathways as physical pain. To our ancient ancestors, being ostracized from the tribe meant death. As a result, our brains evolved a powerful survival mechanism, the drive for normative alignment. When faced with a choice between being right alone or being wrong with the tribe, most minds choose the comfort of the crowd, even when it defies logic. Beyond the fear of standing out, human beings rely heavily on informational social influence, more commonly known as social proof. When you enter an unfamiliar situation, your brain conserves energy by observing how others are behaving. If a restaurant is packed, you assume the food is high quality. If thousands of people share an opinion online, your mind subconsciously flags that opinion as validated truth. This creates a phenomenon known as an informational cascade. An informational cascade occurs when individuals make decisions based entirely on the observations of previous decision makers, ignoring their own private information or critical thinking. Once a critical mass adopts a stance or behavior, it creates an unstoppable momentum. Society accepts it not because it is logically sound, but simply because everyone else is doing it. Perhaps the most potent mechanism of social influence is our deep-rooted obedience to authority. In Stanley Milgram's famous obedience experiments, ordinary people were instructed by an authority figure in a lab coat to deliver increasingly severe electrical shocks to a stranger. Despite hearing fake screams of agony, over 65% of participants delivered the maximum voltage simply because an authority figure calmly told them, "The experiment requires that you continue." This highlights a fundamental flaw in human cognition, agentic state theory. When an authority figure takes command, individuals often transition from an autonomous state, where they take personal responsibility for their actions, to an agentic state, where they see themselves merely as an instrument executing someone else's will. This allows people to bypass their own moral and logical compasses under the guise of just following protocol or respecting expertise. Social influence isn't always overt pressure from crowds or authority. Often, it is subtle environment design. In behavioral economics, this is known as choice architecture. The way information is framed predetermines the decision you make before you even weigh the pros and cons. The framing effect: if a medical treatment is described as having a 90% survival rate, people overwhelmingly accept it. If the exact same treatment is described as having a 10% mortality rate, rejection rates soar. Anchor priming: mentioning a high number first skews your perception of value, making a subsequent price tag feel like a bargain regardless of its actual worth. By controlling the context, language, and order of choices, skilled influencers shape your decisions without ever forcing your hand. You are left believing you made an independent choice, when in reality, the menu was stacked from the beginning. How do you reclaim your autonomy in a world engineered to influence you? Most people go through life in a state of default compliance, absorbing social norms, trending opinions, and external expectations without scrutiny. From a Sigma intelligence perspective, true mental sovereignty requires developing a strong filter of first principles. Sovereign thinkers do not reject social consensus out of simple rebellion. That is just another form of being controlled by the crowd. Instead, they strip away the social framing, ignore the crowd's momentum, and analyze information based purely on core evidence and fundamental truth. They ask three crucial questions. Is this my genuine conclusion, or an adopted consensus? Am I agreeing because the evidence is sound, or because authority demands it? What would I think about this if no one else were watching? Social influence is the invisible water we all swim in. You cannot eliminate it entirely, but by understanding its mechanics, you pull yourself out of the current. Real power isn't about controlling others. It is about maintaining complete command over your own mind in a world that is constantly trying to think for you. Where in your life do you notice social influence creeping in the most? Let's discuss it in the comments below. If this deep dive gave you a sharper lens on human behavior, drop a like, share this video, and hit that subscribe button to join the Sigma Intelligence community. Thanks for watching and stay sharp.